Hi everybody, today we will be discussing rolling the perfect ball of yarn. This is something that will interest the children about the age of 4 and getting older than that. It is perfect for the child that is learning to count. You will need some yarn, and you will need a container to hold the yarn while the child is rolling their perfect ball of yarn. Let's talk about yarn for a second. There are a lot of options with yarn, and for the first group of children, your youngest group of children that are rolling, you need the thickest cable sweater yarn that you can find. I tend to try to keep all my yarns natural and not synthetic. So we have some wool yarn here and these two, and we have cotton here. Here is some acrylic, and here is another that is acrylic. These are for about a 5-year-old and up as far as rolling, and this one might even be a 6-year-old and up. You don't want yarn that is too easy to pull apart. If it is not well round and is not very tight, then when the child goes to roll and put some pressure on it more than they should, it's going to pull apart and they're going to feel frustrated. So let's get started with a ball of yarn. For demonstration, I'm going to use a high-sided bowl, which is also another option. I have seen people use bowling bags with the zipper pulled a little bit, chalk bags for rock climbing, that sort of thing. And then you always have the option of having a container that is closable and the yarn sits in the opening where your pull line was. So we are going to begin by wiggling our fingers, because we want to keep our hands nice and loose. And we are going to lay this down and pinch it with our thumb. And then we're going to begin counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And then I'm going to take it off and pinch it. I'm going to make a bow tie out of this. Look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm going to pinch it this way, bend these two down. This one is the hardest to do for the child because often these want to slide off the side and they must be extremely careful. And I'm counting to 25 each time I do this. And that way the child is learning to count. I've had kids skip count by 2s to 50, but it's always a counting work. And, oh, it's beginning to look like a ball now. Before I will teach a child how to finger chain, which will be the next lesson, and then crocheting and knitting after that, they must be able to roll the perfect ball of yarn. And for the 4 and 5-year-old child, they will do this with reckless abandon. It is somewhat of a calming feature for them. Some children want this to go across the room, and they will deliberately spill or yank it to make it pop out and pretend that that is not their fault. That's fine. You're welcome to do that. However, you still now have to take all the knots out of the yarn, and that is a very frustrating proposition for the child. So the child will do that once or twice, and then, are you sure you're going to want to be able to take all those knots out of the yarn? That looks really hard. I don't know if I would do that. That seems like a much wiser choice, to not throw the ball of yarn across the room. It is also the child's job to protect their ball of yarn. from other children who might want to swat it across the room. And so that's when I like to use the chalk bags or a much higher sided container that is narrower to keep the yarn contained. And as a note, this is not one skein. What it will become, this ball, has been broken down into 3 separate balls of yarn that the child can then manage reasonably. This, I would say 6 or 7 counts to 25 is what you are looking for. And then the child can begin this even movement. And some children will get very much into laying one row right next to the other and keeping it perfectly in line. And that is a point of observation for you, which is, oh, I see how carefully you have made these go right next to each other. Did that take a lot of concentration? I bet you're proud of yourself for being able to do that. And so we are getting to the very end and rolling our perfect ball of yarn. One of the other issues is you want to not be pulling too much. That is one reason we wiggle our fingers, because the children will have a hard time taking that initial first 25 off of their fingers if they begin to roll it too tightly. So there's our perfect ball of yarn. Thanks for watching. You will need to have a container, some yarn, and a peaceful place where your child can count out loud to 25 and work out the perfect ball of yarn. Thanks so much for watching. Check back in the future for some more videos about work that children can do at home and can be nurtured by. Thank you very much. Leave your likes and comments below. I'd love to see your children's ball of yarn, and ask any questions that you feel like I might be able to answer. Thanks. Bye-bye.